Partygate, The Aftermath. It sounds like the title of a horror movie. And it may well turn out to be. Because in spite of Russia's £21 billion giveaway this week, not only are Labour bellyaching that it isn't enough, they're still managing to squeeze in calls for Boris to reign over Partygate, even though they must know now that it's over. In fact, listening to Labour's hysteria over Sue Gray's damp squib of a report this week, it's hard not to think they care more about kicking Boris out than they do about the cost of living crisis and what it means to the terrified people they represent. So obsessed have the Boris haters become that they're determined to blame him for gatherings he didn't know about and never attended. In fact, they seem determined to blame him for every bad thing that happened during the pandemic. The SNP's Ian Blackford ludicrously compared what went on at these gatherings to a Roman orgy. It's clear Mr. Blackford has never been to any kind of orgy, because the poor sap would know there's more to them than a few turned-up sandwiches, jugs of fruit juice and a few bottles of wine. But then Boris's enemies had spent months salivating and fantasizing about the prospect of Sue Gray's report damning Boris so badly that he'd have no choice but to resign. But it didn't. So when it didn't, they just decided to scream about what they'd wanted her to say, not what she actually said. And so they screamed about orgies and debauchery, about him being a liar, a criminal, blah blah. The reality, of course, is that the report failed absolutely to show that Boris had knowingly broken the rules. It made clear he wasn't personally involved in any bad behavior apart from the birthday cake incident. And eating a slice of birthday cake shouldn't be a resigning matter. Starmer hysterically accused Boris of presiding over a culture of criminality which is farcical, not to mention hypocritical, bearing in mind his alleged breach of the rules, an organised dinner for 30 and much beer drinking in Durham. For months he's been demanding Boris resign when he and his deputy Angela Rayner are currently being investigated by the police over the Durham incident. The only difference here is that Boris has apologized, nearly 40 times now, for what he did. Starmer hasn't, not once, because he arrogantly refuses to accept he did anything wrong, even though there's video evidence to prove that he did. I heard one Labour MP this week being asked if his party would now drop Partygate in light of a report that criticised the culture at Number 10 but didn't directly blame Boris for it. He said no, absolutely not. So how much do Labour care about the cost of living crisis? How much does this party that claims to be on the side of working people care about the fact many can't eat or heat their homes? Why, as a party, aren't they devoting more time to looking after the needs of those people than trying to oust a man who, if they weren't so blinded by hatred, they'd see is going nowhere? I get that Boris wasn't tough enough with his junior civil service staff who were drinking and socializing when they shouldn't have been. Sue Gray's report said those gatherings shouldn't have been allowed to happen. And she's right. I guess that a lot of people are furious that they slavishly followed the rules this government foisted upon us, yet many government bods did not. I completely understand their anger at not being able to say goodbye to loved ones, and I know those people will never forgive Boris for that, no matter how many times he apologizes, because it cuts too deep for them.